Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. You're so fancy with your I got an hour before I gotta leave for a vacation.
Yeah. For one night.
But it's just like, listen, I could pencil you in for
Let me just quick
pod.
And then I have to leave at 1.
Yeah, are you gonna do that? 1 o'clock hits. You're gonna be like, hey, we gotta wrap this up.
Listen, I gotta go.
I got a car ready for
I got a thing later.
Are you not at the least nervous about me being a single dad for 48 hours with three
beautiful... It's not
beautiful...
even 48. It's like 27.
Have you seen some of these desperate girls out there? With 3 beautiful children?
Just don't go out in public.
I'm already wearing a mask. I'm already covering up myself as much as I
can.
Stay
home, please. I'm gonna check, find your friends. Your location at all times.
Some of them. Well, what about the DMs I'll be getting tonight? Yeah. Single dad.
When you go pick the boys up from school, look at the ground only, and our children. Don't make eye contact with any women.
The boys are got a perimeter around me, just barking off all the women. Homewrecker.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, especially with the example that we saw today with Beckham's allegiance, the degree of his allegiance that he pledges to me.
To you, it's out of control.
Yeah. Do you want to tell him? Do you want to tell him what happened?
Well, the boys, first of all, were really bad this morning.
Oh, they were jerks. The last 2 days.
Yesterday too. Yeah.
Yeah, the last 2 days.
It's like I think it's like the end of the week thing. They're just ready to. I mean,
they're done with their 9 to 5.
Yeah, they're done with their 9 to 5. I mean, it's Friday. Everybody feels it.
Sure.
So they felt it. But trying to get their homework in their bags, water, snacks, all the things. Mm-hmm. And then to get them put their shoes on and put their coats on was like a 30-minute ordeal. It was insane.
I yelled a lot at them.
I yelled a lot too. I feel like the whole morning was yelling.
Yeah.
And so then, when it was time to leave, I told the boys to go give you kisses.
Mm-hmm.
And Beckham went first
mm-hmm.
and gave you a kiss. And you told him,
I said, hey, I'm not happy with you today. Please be better. And
then he leaves out of the room.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, and then you say something to Jack.
Uh-huh.
And when you're in there with Jack, Beckham is just so distraught. He's
mm-hmm.
crying. He looks like his dog just died.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Beckham, why are you crying? And he looks at me and he goes, at first I didn't hear what he said. I just heard a bunch of
because he's got his mask on.
Yeah, because he's got his mask on.
And he's an ugly crier.
No, he's a pretty cute crier. And I looked at him. I was like, what did you say? I couldn't hear you. Because Daddy's mad at me. And I was like, you're crying? You're that distraught because Daddy's mad at you? I was like, okay, you need to go talk to him.
And that's why I heard him and I was like, hey, come here. I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed. I want you to be better.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love you. Okay. I'll pick you up from school because he loves me.
I think that's what sealed the deal when you told him you'd pick him up from school. Yeah. He was like, okay, you still love me.
He loves doing that airplane thing where he runs and chases at me. It's funny.
Okay, if Daddy's picking me up from school, he still loves me. I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's like this sigh of relief for him.
That's cute. So he's pledged his allegiance to me. Yes, so I guess he'll do whatever I tell him when you're away.
Anything you tell him, he'll do.
I'll be like, hey, go talk to that single mom out there.
Hey, can you go ask her what she's doing later?
Ask her if she wants to fold our laundry.
Yeah. Ask her if she's ever babysat before.
Ask her if she's ever met a YouTuber.
Yeah. Ask her where she puts the plates when she does the dishes. Mm-hmm. I need to know.
Yeah, in their house. Where do they put the plates? Because I just put mine in the sink. Yeah. I'm kidding.
It's a nap.
Kidding. But there should be no excuse. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it'll be fine. I was originally.
I'm not worried in the slightest. First of all, it's like a day, if not.
Well, why would you be worried? Why would you be worried?
No, well, that's why I was wondering why you were asking me.
I asked it jokingly. I didn't think it's worried about some
holding on the fort.
Holding on. Well, yeah, I think you would have. You wouldn't even worried about me taking care of the kids. It's more of you're more of I don't want them to run you crazy.
Yeah, it's more I know what it's like when you have all 3 and they're all crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, I don't think I've ever had a day besides I think one day out of Harper's 5 months where I felt there's one day out of these 5 months that I felt and it wasn't even a day, it was maybe 45 minutes where I felt so overwhelmed. Do you remember that? Where I was like crying. It was like the boys were crazy. They were running around the house and throwing pillows and then crying because they were getting hurt. And then at the same time, Harper was screaming because I don't know. She had like a period of time where she was not happy in the beginning from like stomach stuff and being and then at the same time I was making something in the oven and the smoke alarm goes off and I just like lost it. I could not. I was like, this is like
yeah, the smoke alarm part
that was like what made me lose it. Yeah, it was like the cherry on top where I was like, okay. And so I remember like yelling to Beckham, go get dad, and that's like tears streaming down my face, and I was like,
and Beckham's like, dad's busy,
I think
leave
Harper
him alone
was like,
at arena.
Yeah, I think Harper was like, I don't even know, like a week old. She was barely born. And I was like holding her in my arm trying to like fan the smoke alarm so it like would stop, and I'm just like crying and you're like, okay, stop, I got this. You kind of like took over. Oh, I think, and I remember that clearly because it was the only time I felt like I was like outnumbered and out of like things I could not control like my situation. The only day.
It's interesting. Three kids is I wouldn't say it's crazy because I mean if you kind of I think if did your best to get the first two kids in order.
Well, I think the age gap helped a lot with us. Like if we had Harper when Beckham was like 2, things would have been a lot different.
Yeah, no, but and you also have it's just chaos. Like even if everybody's behaved, there's just
a
always
lot more people.
There's almost always something that needs to be done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and we were expecting that.
Yeah.
But and I mean for the most part, the boys are older and so they're pretty independent, and I think for the most part well behaved. So I feel like the 3 never felt like.
No, I'm very proud of them. I'm not. I mean, I've said it to you many times. I'm very proud of the age and their behavior at that age right now. So I couldn't be more excited, and that's why originally your mom was gonna. You told me, to make it easier for you.
Well, I thought you were working today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So originally I was gonna take Harper to my mom and tell him.
And I was like, and she's like, you asked me if I wanted the boys home and Harper with your mom, or Harper with me and then the boys at your mom's. And I think I said like, well, it'd be easier if the boys were with me and Harper was with your mom's, just 'cause waking up a lot in the middle of the night is to take care of her.
But she's good now. Yeah,
she's better.
She only woke up once.
You also have this tendency that like when there's like one good night, you're like, oh, she's doing great.
Yeah,
now. Like,
I know. I get like too excited.
I remember you saying that she sleeps good, or sleeps better, like one of the 2 words, probably already 3 times over the course of 5 months. You've used that line already, and then we're back.
Because she has these like, it's like waves. She'll do like really really well, and then but she did. I think it was apart. They're still
but
I would say for the last like at least week, 2 weeks maybe. Would you say 2 weeks? Maybe a week.
Well, how do we describe
like she wakes up once?
Once, okay. So
which I think is good because Beckham woke up once until he was like over 1. Okay. And so for me, I consider that pretty good.
Be okay with
especially because before this it was like 10 times at least.
Oh yeah, well that's a good way.
So to me that's why I say better, because I'm like, I'll take even 1 or 2 I'll take. Yeah. Because anything is better than like 2 weeks ago when it was 15 times a night, every like hour. You're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it's
here she is again.
It's and so I kind of thought about that, where I don't really have a social life, so it's like it's Friday to Saturday.
What are you guys gonna do?
Well, I mean, originally I was just like, oh, cool, I can do my own thing. I mean, there weren't any fights on or anything, but I'm like, I don't have a social life, so I'm gonna be like, hey, tell my buddies, like, hey, come over, let's hang out. Like that's not a thing that happens anymore in my life. And so I'm like, well, I might as well hang out with my kids,
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I don't know, maybe get on Tinder and just get a pizza or
something. Swipe left or right, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet. We'll see. Maybe we'll do some fun.
Yeah.
But not too fun.
Just enough fun. But not in public.
Yeah.
Like a park where there's nobody there.
Yeah, I don't like people.
Fun, but not too fun.
Fun, but not too fun.
Just enough.
Yeah.
Mediocre fun.
Yeah.
What is it? Rules are there to regulate the fun.
Rules are there to regulate the fun. So what do you want to talk about on this podcast?
I think you get a lot of people ask you, which I've noticed, which Also, by the way, you're welcome for starting the question thing for you.
What question thing for me? Oh, did you do like an Instagram Ask Me Anything?
Yes, I did it first, and literally that same night, you're like, "Hey guys, haven't done this in a while. Ask me anything."
So after you posted it and got 5 questions,
you got 500.
I decided to hop on real quick.
Hey guys,
and throw a question at her too.
I think it was like, was it Halloween? Yeah, it was Halloween when you did it. But anyway, when I was looking through, I kept seeing like a lot of these questions, at least that you posted. No, a lot of them were like, what's your favorite project? Project, maybe if you have a plural.
Sure.
And what is the project or projects that you would redo or have like any regrets about? Okay. So which one do you want to start with first?
Which one's the worst?
With the projects that you didn't like, or would you redo?
So is the question what I would redo about the project, or is the question a different direction I would have taken the project?
Either.
Or the project I hated the most.
So like, let's start with, what's a project that you, every time you think about, you like kind of cringe, or like, obviously not regret, because I feel like every project has led you to where you are now, right?
Sure.
But like kind of like, oh man, like if I would have done something different. So yeah, just tell me like what project it is and what you would have done differently, or if you would have taken it, if you wish you would have taken it in a different direction.
So the project that stands out right away that I dreaded, and I don't know if there's any projects that I dread because.
So you dreaded it ahead of time?
Well, I dreaded during it because it took me a little bit. I don't have any project that I regret doing that it was like hell on earth. It's just, I learned something new. I'm sure every project I'm always frustrated with something. But the one specific one that stands out is the paver project, because I remember how backbreaking lifting 8 pallets worth of pavers. And so a lot of people don't know this, but so about 2 years ago, one of the videos that really kind of started kicking off my YouTube channel was this outdoor paver project, the fire pit area.
Area.
And I decided to kind of do that paver area plus like a retaining decorative wall in the backyard. So
because you got some extra.
It was a sponsored project with Home Depot, and it was a brand new brand that they took on under the influencers, and they asked me if I want to be part of it. Right away I was like, I don't know if that's going to be a searchable thing, like I don't know if that's going to be a good video for people to like get into, but because it's like I'm getting thousands of dollars worth of pavers, plus
it's hard to say no
payment for it, and it's my house. I'm like, okay, fine.
Did you know, like coming into it, you're like, this is going to be a lot of work?
No, I didn't know. I'm always optimistic about every project. I'm always like, it's going to take me like a day or two, something like that. That's why you should see my.
That's how I say. That's what I say about staging too. Oh, it's going to take me like 4 hours.
That's exactly
3 days later.
That's exactly what it is.
Still finishing.
You should see my calendar for posting. Like I'll have like sticky notes. That way I can move it. And to plan it, I'll be okay. Demo day, like the sticky note demo day on Monday, and then I'll like the next thing would be like 2 days. I'll be like tile day 1, day 2, right? And then, cabinet making day 1 or 2 or something like that, and then it always ends up, those sticky notes just end up getting pushed.
Going back.
Just getting pushed, like repushed. Yeah. But that project, I specifically remember because it was pouring. Because in Idaho in the spring, we get some heavy showers.
When was it? Like May?
Probably.
It was May, because I remember that's the weekend your parents came and it was your mom's birthday.
So going back into it, so this is a brand new brand that the Home Depot is working with, and so I got onto it. So they haven't worked out a lot of the kicks of like delivery of the product and stuff like that. So I didn't know when it was showing up. So one day I come outside to take out the trash, and we live in this little cul-de-sac, and this 18-wheeler pickup delivery truck pulls up, and I'm like, it looks like just a fish out of water. Like it's ginormous. Like you're like, you can't turn around in the street.
How are you gonna?
And he's got 8 pallets worth of pavers, which are bricks or whatever, on it. And he's like, oh, here, these are for you. I go, oh, that's the project for Home Depot. And I was like, cool. I was like, do you have where's your forklift? He goes, oh, I don't have a forklift. I usually deliver. He's like, this is an overnight delivery from Arizona to Idaho
No forklift.
No forklift. He goes, I usually deliver to construction sites.
Oh, so they have a forklift.
For builders, and they have forklifts, and they take it off my truck or crane or whatever. And I was like, hey, friendo, I don't have a forklift.
Did you not realize you're going to a residential place?
And he says he was kind of questioning it. I was like, wait, this is not a construction site.
Yeah.
What is it? And so we had to do this crazy thing. This is a lot of backtracking of the story, but I think it's kind of interesting to hear.
Yeah.
I called Home Depot, the people that I'm connected in the sponsorship. They said to send it to one of the local stores here, like Home Depot's local stores.
Mm-hmm.
They'll load it up on their trucks with their forklifts, and their trucks have forklifts that they deliver.
Right.
With, and they'll bring it over. Well, it's so back-ended that they took it to the local Home Depot. The guy's truck got unloaded because he's just a contracted guy. He's not a Home Depot guy. Unloaded. Well, that product doesn't exist. There's no SKU or SKU number for them to store it on their shelves. That new? Right. Well, it's either that new or it's just maybe an order product, so they don't. Oh,
they don't sell it in the store.
They don't have a shelf for it, basically. So it's sitting on their truck. So I call the store and I'm going, hey, I'm one. Would you call one of those a YouTuber influencers? And think, do you have my papers there? And they go, yeah, we have this paper here, but I don't have any numbers. I don't have anywhere to store it. I don't have. This is a non-existing product, if you ask me.
Like, what do we do? Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let me call the corporate people, Home Depot. And
they'll call
so there's
you.
a lot of back and forth.
I remember it was a few days of you trying to get them here.
They end up delivering it from that Home Depot store to a different Home Depot store here, which is like another 5 miles away, which is more of that shipping and delivery kind of like a transfer center place. They had the same conversation. We don't know. So I was basically like, do you guys have my papers or not?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, where are they?
So finally, long story short, we got everything handled. The product was delivered. It stood in my driveway.
But they just put it right in the driveway.
Why
didn't they even put it in the backyard?
Well, they couldn't get a forklift back there.
Oh, so they had to.
They had to. That was the only option.
Man, that was, I think, the hardest part is having to take either the wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Or just manually lift every single paper, because I helped you and your dad helped you.
Yeah, it was pouring rain.
Yeah,
and that's one thing I remember, the back breaking, because the installation
it was physically
of the
insane.
Pavers is easy. It's a pretty simple process. It's like putting Legos down, but bringing all these pavers back there,
They're so heavy.
Remember my lower back aching. I went through so many different pairs of gloves because they kept ripping, because you're handling these heavy pavers.
Yeah, and then we still ended up with
too much,
and we had extra sitting on our driveway for a while.
Yeah.
Did we ever get it? I feel like we got an HOA letter for it. Did we? No,
which is pretty incredible if you ask me.
I know. They're like,
I wouldn't say it was there for a while. I think it was there for a couple of weeks. That's all it was.
Yeah, which is a while.
Yeah, but it's, people get it. So yeah, that's the project that I what would we put on the
But in hindsight, like, going back to my question, like, there's nothing you really could have done differently, because that was the only way to do it, right? That was just one that you would have, like...
I hated the project.
Hated it.
I hated the project.
But then it got you the views, so then you're like, okay.
I think the end result, I love that paper pad.
It looks amazing.
So it's great. Yeah. It's one of those projects that if you're going to redo it agagan,
you need a lot more help.
Yeah. Get people to come out and help you bring it in the back, which you and my dad did, but you need more.
Yeah, you need more.
And you're doing it in the pouring rain, so that's another thing.
That was hard, yeah. It was like muddy. I remember that the wheelbarrow would get stuck because it was so muddy. Yep. That was what, like over a year?
That was 2 years ago.
Year and a half.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there another one?
That I hated? That
you were like, I wish I would have done something differently.
Okay, so that's a different question though, right? That's a design aspect, I guess, right? So one that comes to mind is, it's funny because every project I have something to share about it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's do like your top 3.
I don't know how to categorize 3, but I could go 3 off the top of my head. But
yeah. Just the ones that like probably stand out the most.
So one that a lot of people don't know about, because there's a lot of things behind the scenes you get to do from the video perspective that you're like, people don't need to know about this.
Yeah. Let's hide this.
Is this barbecue grill, the smoker grill area station, the outdoor grill station that I did this last summer. For the most part, everything went to plan, but the whole like you measure twice, you cut once.
Yeah.
And I think I measured more than twice. But so the overall dimensions for where the grill is going to sit inside the space, the inset recess center,
so that it'd be leveled with the countertop and it wouldn't be too many gaps. So the idea was like I was trying to get it within like 1/2 inch to an inch on each side of the grill, that it looks like it's just built in there, right? But it's not secured or anything. Well, somehow things got screwed up in the dimensions that I was like 2 inches over, right?
Was it too big?
It was too small of an area for my grill to fit.
Oh, your grill didn't fit in there.
Yeah. And another thing I didn't consider is that every grill, whether smokers or gas propane, is on the side. They have the grease catcher drip, right? So it goes into this metal bucket, and that's another extra space that needs to be there. And again, I didn't consider that part. So this is what the people don't know about. And if you've seen the video, you'll go back and laugh at it. But I had to trim off the grill. They had handles on both sides, which is like, a few, maybe an inch or so. I had to trim those off. Once those handles were trimmed off, I was still, we're at a point where the bucket can't even be there, right? So the bucket has this little spigot or a little spout, not the bucket, the grill has a little spigot or spout lip that comes out that pushes the grease out of it. And then it has a little hook that the bucket hangs over. So essentially, from where the grill ends to the bucket actually stops, you have another 4 inches.
Okay.
So the question of putting the bucket inside is not even on the table. Like that's not even a possibility. Or we can't even fit the spigot that's part of the metal framing of this thing. So it came down to me shimmying the grill in there. But now what are we doing about the grease? So I put the bucket behind the grill, because there's plenty of space behind the grill because there's a chimney. I didn't want it to have too much close contact. Put the bucket behind and took aluminum flashing, which is stuff like gutters are made out of, like really thin metal material. And I bent it into a V groove. And I had to basically make my own little drainage like gutter in the back. So it goes from this little spigot lip to the back of the grill into this grease bucket. And it's functional. And what's funny is I thought nobody's going to catch it.
Did somebody catch it?
Well, they didn't catch that I did that. They were like, hey, man, what about the grease bucket?
Yeah, where does that go? Yeah.
And
the people that have smokers and are like, or girls are like, listen.
Yeah. And so if I was, I had to avoid all those questions that people did me because it'd be such a long answer. Be like, well, what happened was I didn't measure right. It's there. So I did this. I fold this aluminum flashing and then it would be this ongoing thing. So if I was to redo that project again, you would account for that. I would account for that. And I'd figure out maybe a different little, because there'd be a bigger gap on the sides, I'd maybe make a little filler piece to put in that you can remove, so the bucket could be there. Yeah, so that's one thing that's so really funny. Stands out.
I remember you telling me that it was too big, but I don't remember what you did.
And here's the thing, and I kind of made it, and I was like, well, because the pellet grill, I had to take it off the classic stand or wheels that it's on, right, to make it fit in. So the idea was like, and obviously I threw the wheels and legs away, right? Because where do you store that?
Right.
And I was like, well, I'll just sell the house with this grill. You know what I mean? And I'm sure we'll get, our house marked up. So I'll use the money and go buy another grill or something. But then I thought to myself, if this grill breaks, the next owner, he's going to have to put a smaller grill in here.
Yeah, he won't. The same one won't work.
So that's what happened with that project. That's what.
But it looks great.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, every project has something. The stairs is another one that is, I think for the most part, the stairs that I did with the chevron pattern stair treads and the metal railing and stuff like that, I didn't know I did this until somebody caught me on a video, which it really goes to show there's people who watch video like
stop
snipers.
It, yeah.
They're snipers. The 16 treads that are going up, second to last tread.
You missed.
I missed one chevron line. So each one had maybe I think 4 chevron lines, and this one I missed one. And
somebody caught it.
I didn't believe them until I went and looked at my stairs, and I was like, "Damn, I did miss one."
You know what's crazy? I once did a video up the stairs. It was when Beckham did his little thing where he put a book on each step. He did a little trail of books up to their bedroom, and I did a video up the stairs, and somebody had commented the same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, is there a missing piece? And I was like, oh my gosh! Out of all
You know, it's funny when they ask you that question in a more nicer way, where they go, was there a reason why you decided to leave? Yeah, it's because
I forgot. Karen. Are you gonna fix it?
There's no way to make it clean.
What do you mean?
So okay, so the spot is really tight up there. The way I made those cuts
well, like, would you just like have to redo the whole
get
a new one? Yeah.
It's glued in there.
Oh.
So the amount of ripping, the best possible option I've kind of played around with. First of all, there's nothing that I know that I can make a nice clean cut like that from top to bottom.
Without taking it off.
Well, right.
And you can't take it off.
So like if there's an option, be like, well, you can use like a router with a little jig guide kind of thing, but it won't go to the bottom and it won't go to the top. There'll be a gap missing. You can use a little multi-oscillating tool Dremel thing, and that's still it won't be straight. It'll be all crazy. My only other solution for it was, unless I'm missing some kind of tool out there, is for me to just take a black Sharpie and make that line to make it look like
it's there.
Like it's there. You know what I mean?
Well, what if
drawing on your
you
eyebrows.
took it off? Even though it's glued, can you just kind of like chip it away?
Oh, I would have to chip the whole thing apart. Yeah.
And then make a new one.
Yeah. That would be the only other option.
So much work.
It would be a ton of work, to be honest with you.
Like,
it's the chipping away part.
Yeah,
probably.
the chipping away.
I would say
it's glued.
I would say it's half a day. It's going to be very messy because it's all MDF and you're trying to rip it apart.
So do you feel like at this point it's not even worth it?
Are you bothered by it?
No.
Oh yeah. So to me, I'm like, I forget that it's there.
Yeah.
Like I forget because, and I'm
well,
so
that's why I'm surprised it doesn't bother you, because you're like kind of a perfectionist when it comes to like things being a certain way. Mm-hmm. That's why it surprises me.
OCD, I guess. You gotta be careful with using the word perfectionist, because I hate when people use the word the perfectionist to describe themselves, because sometimes they what's the right way to put it? It hinders them, or they hide behind the idea of I'm a perfectionist. It keeps them from trying things that they're not good at.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that's you. You're more like the OCD part, where you need you like things a certain way to be organized. Yeah. So that's why I'm surprised it doesn't bother you, because you, especially you, like a project that you've done. Like, I
think because I get it's such a busy pattern.
Yeah.
Right. It's a repetitive.
You get lost in it
for 15 stairs, and it's like the second to last one. My eyes never go in there. You know what I mean? It's like you see a zebra pattern, you're like, everything's a zebra.
That's true. It's not like it's like the first three stairs.
It's almost camouflage.
It's at the top.
You know? To me, I see more of these things that bother me, like, you know, the grout lines in the shower. As soon as you walk out and your eyes fall down on it, I'm like, oh, I wish I made them tighter. Like, they're too wide. You know, I don't like that they're too wide, because when they're wide, you could see the dirt or the discoloration in the grout. I see gaps on wood. So like if I jointed two pieces of wood together and there's a little bit of a gap, it's not camouflage. So I'm like, I wish I put wood filler in there, or epoxy, or, you know, did a better, tighter joint on it. So I'll see those kind of things. But apart from that, it was too much.
The other
camouflage.
things,
yeah. Let's see here. What's a different project that
you don't notice it?
What's another? Throw me a project and I'll tell you what I didn't like about it. That'll be actually funner. Do you have any projects that you're convinced that it came out perfect? And we'll play a game to see if I could tell you what I didn't, what imperfections there.
I feel like the downstairs bathroom came out pretty perfect.
Right now, the one that so that one, this is interesting.
What'd you do?
Well, I think for the most part, the chevron patterns came out fine. The cabinet came out fine. I would say the tile on the floor, I actually had to redo.
Why is that?
Well,
it looks great.
Well, I know I had to redo. I did redo. So originally what I did is the order of operation of the bathroom was I did the demo work. Then I think I did the tile.
The floor.
The floor tile, sorry. Then I did the vanity and the backsplash, right? So that part was done. Well, then the next video was starting with the shower, right? The bathtub shower. I removed the old built-in, the whole 2-in-1, the shower bathtub out. And I was under the impression, because all showers, the bottom part, or sorry, all tubs that you buy
lengthwise, they're all the same. I think it's like 60 inches or something like that. That's like the standard. So the framers could frame the house according to it. I was under the impression that because that number is the same, the width is going to be the same as well.
Oh.
Well, I bring in this new, sleek, simple bathtub, and it's about 3 inches narrower, I guess that's the best way to describe it, than the last one. So now I have this gap, and the tile's already done.
Oh,
and so you go, well, okay, so I can rip off these little end pieces. Or no, the thought was, okay, I could just add a couple of pieces to continue. But it looked so hideous, where you go these big pieces of tile, and then they stop, right, where they cut off because they're staggered. And then
to have just
you basically have a line, one row of 3-inch strips.
Yeah.
It looked hideous. It looked
You
absolutely.
tried it?
Yeah, I did it first.
Oh.
I did it first.
So but had you already grouted?
I did.
So you had to take it off?
Wouldn't
the tile have chipped, or was it not dry yet?
No, it chipped.
You had to get new tile?
I had to get new tile.
Oh, dang.
I had to, and to make sure the pattern
didn't tell me
continues,
that.
I had to pull out like one extra row back to make sure they're all staggered the same direction, and they all end.
So you had to take it off again.
Yep.
And throw it away.
Yep.
And get new tile.
Yep.
Dang.
Yep. Because so when I did it and I cut the corner, well, I mean, like the idea is like cut the corners in terms of like the progress, right? Like efficiency. I was cutting all these corners. And I was like, it's fine. I'll just add this one row, 3 inches. And I basically had to convince myself to do that.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the floor tile for about a day and a half. And I think I did some kind of Instagram story about doing things the right way or something like that. Or
you're like, dang it, I have to do it right.
Right. And that to me, I was like, I'm gonna hate this. This is gonna be an extra day, but I'm gonna be more the peace of mind afterwards.
Yeah, and you'll be happy with it. Yeah.
So I don't stare at it, and so now I'm fine. I'm happy with it.
That's such a hard decision to come to, and you're like, I know I have to. I know I'm gonna hate it. Yep. And I'm wasting money.
You're first going from a place of it'll be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Which that's already a red flag. When you say it's fine, that's to me that's always like a major red flag.
When I'm staging, have to come back and redo it.
It's the same. It's like that's the last thing you want to say to yourself. Like,
do you do that with staging too?
Yeah. I've noticed that about myself when I'm like, I can't leave a project thinking that thought, like, oh, it's fine. Because then I'm thinking about it. I'm losing sleep over it. I regret like the things I didn't do. And so 99% of the time I come back and just redo it, because I know even though I'm like not wasting, but I'm like taking up more time to do it. Whatever, if it's like another day I have to go there, I know I'll be so much happier with it, and I'll be able to sleep better and be proud of my work. Right. So that's what it kind of comes down to. 100%. Like, you want to be proud of your work, when especially if like people are coming over to your house, or like people are viewing the house that I staged. I don't want like to think, oh my gosh, I hope they don't go in that room, or things like that. You know, where I'm like, oh, I should.
Peace of mind, I think, is
huge,
is important to note, and I think that's
being proud.
Yeah, because to me, it's not like people are going to come over and look. To me, it's more of like, if I'm going to be bothered by this, I don't want to go through that emotional roller coaster. I want to. That's why it's the same thing about, we talked about food, right? Like how I eat. I know that if I eat bad food, I feel horrible. Right. And I want to feel good about, and it's not that I just feel horrible, like, oh, it's not settling well, but like I'm disappointed in myself. And so I don't want to be disappointed in myself. So that's just, I guess, it's a motivating factor. Yeah. And
I feel like with me, it's like, obviously you're not going to be like 1000%. Every project, like you said, has something that you're like, I wish I'd have done differently. But if you're like, if you know it's something that you can fix and it's not too late, you need to do it.
But that's actually like a heaven sent gift if you catch yourself in the position where you're like, oh, I still have a window to redo this. Yeah. But
I guess for me it's a little bit different, because like with my projects, a lot of it is
setting up more time to go.
Exactly. And it's always something I can fix if I have the resources to do it. Like if I have, shoot, that doesn't look good, that color doesn't match that color, okay, do I have something in my inventory, or I can go buy something real quick that will match. So it's like I think a little bit easier for me.
Everything's savable. Everything is. You're
like, it is, as long as you have the resources. Like, granted, sometimes,
because like you always say, money's no object.
He's an object. I can go buy this. No, but there's been times where I'm like, I can't go get another piece of like whatever furniture it is, versus like whether it's obviously that project need to be done that day, and I can't go find something that will. If it's accessories, it's easy, but yeah, like a piece of furniture. And so there's been times where I'm like, I wish I just had like this one thing, but I don't. But in my I think profession, I can make things work a little bit easier than you.
Yeah,
like with the tile, I'm like, the only thing you really can do is redo it in that situation, right?
Tile's intimidating too because everything is a pattern.
Yeah.
And that pattern it could be disrupted very quickly, right? And I wouldn't say I'm an incredible tilesman. I think I can be decent at it, but I'm not great at it. But there's nothing worse where like you have to break tile. You have to interrupt this pattern here, which when you demo it and try to get that tile out of there, you have now opened up this possibility of breaking, chipping, or doing something else to the rest of the tiles. So that's just, and now you just get more frustrated. Like, and tiling is such a tedious job. You know,
I know
it's the equivalency of you know, putting electrical behind the wall and then putting drywall and then texturing and then painting it and be like, oh,
it's like
crap,
a whole day of work.
I forgot to connect the electrical part to the actual power supply. And you're like, oh, it'd be fine. I guess we just won't use that plug. And you're like,
but wait,
no, I have
to use that plug.
I have to, yeah. And so you just, that's kind of that emotional roller coaster you go through. Give me another project.
Okay, let me think.
Because I haven't built much.
There's nothing in this house that,
That's funny.
Okay. Office. I feel like that was a pretty, it was one of the first projects you've done. You did in this house. So I'm going to hear.
Easy. That one's easy.
Yeah.
It's too easy. The table, the desk.
The desk?
Yeah, the desk. Because
desktop. So it's a floating.
It's a floating desk.
The people that haven't seen it, it's a floating top. And then we have these big floating shelves above it.
Yeah, the shelves I'm fine about. Those are the longest. I think they are 8 foot long.
They're giant.
They
go from wall to wall.
Yeah, so there's 3 or 4 of them. Three. They're to date the longest floating shelves I've ever made. So I'm fine with them. The desk is a different story. The way the desk was made is I had somebody donate me leftover real hardwood flooring, and hardwood flooring, they have this like a tongue and groove kind of way that it sits, but what's worse is which you can cut off and reuse the wood, but what's worse is when you flip it over, they have these grooves. I think they're like moisture grooves for the moisture to like escape, right? So you have to mill, or what's called milling or prepping the wood. You put different kind of metalworking pieces of technology to like flatten them out, to get rid of all these imperfections. Anywho, it's just too much work for that kind of stuff. So I thought, what can I do? Well, why don't I try making a desk out of it, at the very least the desktop. And so the way I kind of made it is I first took metal and I made a frame, and I attached that frame with big lag bolts into the studs of the wall, okay? And I didn't cut out the drywall, which I should have, but I just went right into it. Now, the reason why I should have cut out the drywall, okay, so before I even get to like why I should have, so I drilled it right into the studs, and then on top of that, I laid down the desk. And the way I made the desk is I made the top and I made the front apron of it, so it looks like a big solid piece, right? And so once the frame was up, I then laid on top of it this solid piece, and it looked great. The problem is because I secured it through from the frame through the drywall into the studs, the drywall allowed for just the slightest amount of flexing, right, up and down. Well, it's not fears of it breaking off and falling down. It's just if there's a little bit of flex at the very front of it, you have a desk that is 36 inches wide. The flex is going to be more substantially noticed on the ends that's touching your lap or whatever, or your stomach. And so there's always a little bit of flex. So would that be a desk you want to stand on? Absolutely not, right? It would.
I'm trying to think if I've stood on it.
You've never stood on it.
I think I might have.
You've never stood on it.
I think I was too scared because it's floating.
Yeah. So our monitors, our computer screens are fine because they're pushed closest to the wall, which is
Yeah.
the closest. If
The
our
more
monitor
secure
was
part.
by like, it would flex even more. Like, so
Well, there's been times where the boys have like Beckham does this thing where he like puts his weight on it, and I'm like,
trying
get
to
off the
yeah.
desk.
So the only way to kind of redeem myself with that is one of two ways. Either A, take the desk off the wall, cut the drywall out, and mount it straight to the studs, which still will have a little bit of flex. So what some people do is put corbels, which is these like triangular, things underneath it to kind of support it. Or the only other option is to put some kind of support either down the middle or on the sides, like a leg, like either like 2 legs up front, each corner, like the left corner and the right corner, or just put like 1 leg down the middle. I just don't know how to aesthetically make it look like it flows with it.
Yeah.
I don't want it to look like, oh, that's just a solution to a problem.
Right.
I want it to be like, oh, I like how that works.
Yeah.
So my only probably other option might be just put the corbels
Metal
somehow
Oh
underneath
yeah.
them.
Yeah. Interesting.
So-
Is that the only thing about the office? I feel like everything else.
No, because everything else I think I like.
Yeah. The closet looks great.
Well, the closet is different because the closet was a kit that came that just needed to be installed.
That's right. So you just
So I wouldn't
installed
say
it.
I take any kind of credit for it. Let's see here.
Let me.
What? Go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Because, and then I'll give you like my top 3 favorite projects that you've done.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Maybe. So, do you have any other ones? Because then we can go to your top 3 favorites.
Well, no. There's like I said, there's something that I dislike, and some of the things that I
So,
dislike.
like, what's like in the nursery? I feel like the nursery you did a really good job. That was probably like, and that's one of your recent ones that you did that right before Harper was born.
Yeah. The nursery one, you also got to understand, and I'll answer that question in a second. A lot of these projects I started in the infancy stages of my YouTube, right?
Yes.
And so obviously your skill set kind of develops, and like I always say, from every project you run into some kind of issue,
but they
and then
become
you
more
learn.
minor, right?
Well,
As
you learn from your mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So therefore you don't make that other mistake on this next thing. So if you've done baseboards and trim in your house and it came out bad, you've learned what the issue was.
Right.
Therefore, on the next project you do that, you're going to be more mindful. Okay, I need to have a really good blade to make really good crisp cuts. I need to make sure the angles are on point. I need to use less caulking and better tighter fitting joints, So you take something with you. So like the fireplace mantle, that was one of the earlier stages of the project, and I'm not happy with the trim work. I'm not happy with the tile. I'm not happy with all of it. It will be kind of silly for me to tear it down,
redo it,
but it's at a point where it's like it's fine, right?
Yeah. Especially because we won't stay here.
Sure.
Like,
and then like
you could have redone it, but you don't. Yeah.
And so
you won't be here.
Going into that, so like this last project I finished was the bed, right? The master bedroom bed, the big one. And the things that I don't like with that is with those kind of projects, that the more recent ones, is some of the finishing things sometimes, right? You're like, oh man, that's not as, there's a little bit of a gap right there. I wish I filled that in, or, oh, turns out I measured it a little bit too wide so you could see the slats on the mattress, and it would be nice for it to be like tight fitting grooved, you know what I mean? That you don't see anything up behind or below the mattress. So those are very minor kind of things, but I think I'm convinced everybody has those things.
Oh
that
yeah.
look back.
But that's what I think. You're right. I think it becomes over time, it becomes these minor aesthetic things versus like a big, like shoot, that's not even gonna be functional because I did it wrong. Yeah.
So let's hear your
my top three. Okay, my top 3: nursery, stairs, bunk beds.
Is it that order?
Yes.
Nursery beats bunk beds, huh? Nursery beats stairs?
Every time I walk into the nursery,
Want to have another baby?
it just makes me happy.
Doesn't?
And you know what I've noticed, which doesn't happen. I'm a fairly like organized person, but for some reason Harper's nursery is like extra organized. Have you noticed that? Like there's nothing that's like out of place in her room. I don't know if it's because like she doesn't use it, so I use it and I put everything
extra
back.
Organized, yeah.
I'm extra organized because the way you made it, every little thing has like I have a spot for everything.
Yeah.
Versus like in our room, like our closet, which if you haven't listened to last week's episode, listen. Like our closet is not very big, and so I have nowhere to put stuff, and so it ends up like spilling over, or I'm trying to squeeze in spaces where like it's not supposed to be, like I find like baskets and put stuff in baskets. But like in her room, because you made so many drawers.
Your breast pump is in one of the baskets, by the way.
I can't find stuff for places for anything, because it's like we just don't have the space. But in her room, there's like literally too much space. It's like there's a few drawers where I'm like, oh, this is just like extra. Like her clothes, I'll put clothes in there that's too big on her, just for like future. So I feel like that's how I can stay organized. And I think that's why it makes me happy, because like, first of all, it looks beautiful and it's amazing. And you made the entire room besides the crib. I think that's the only thing in her room that like furniture wise you just
had to push that in my face.
By the way, the crib,
we're too lazy,
like from the closet,
our daughter a place to rest her head.
And I think that's why I like it the most, because it's the
do you understand how important do you understand how important a REM cycle is? So now some factory worker who knows, maybe a meth addict, built her put together
to build her crib. I assembled it though, so it's okay.
I've seen you assemble furniture, and you do assemble them. I just convinced that you choose not to tighten the screws all the way.
I try. My muscles just don't work.
Like, I swear, I tied it as tight as I can.
I try
and I
so
come
hard.
in, I goes like, you still have like 3 revolutions to go.
Well, sometimes I'll do it so hard that I feel like the Allen key is gonna strip or break, and I'm like, okay, this is good.
Like every piece of furniture, I'm always like, even like with your work stuff, like I'll help you move.
You know what it is about work stuff? If you constantly are picking stuff up and moving it, it's gonna
It'll loosen up.
Yeah,
I'll believe you that. And you know why it'll loosen up is because you don't tighten it all the way.
Okay.
What were you saying? About
I was saying that's why I think I like her room the best, because it's like the entire room is put together and made by you.
That's kind of sweet.
So you should make every room, the whole everything.
So we have
from
more
closet
of
from room to closet. Yeah, and I think it is like you made the closet, the whole room is like.
I think it's really cute. I know what you mean a little bit, because it's more of like. Maybe it's because it's a little girl's room.
Maybe
right?
too. It's
right?
just like so sweet. Yeah.
You go, okay, so I built the majority of the furniture here, but there's like, you open up the drawer and there's just like 4 little hair bands and a little thing and a little whatever. And then the shelf will have like 5 little pairs of little baby shoes, And so it's just so cute.
I think a lot of it is that it's like delicate. It's like very delicate. You like want to put everything back to like where it is, because it's so cute.
Oh, I got to give you props, and this comes from my OCD organization heart. And we spoke about this about like the whole, we were joking about like tampons the other day. I was like, because you were saying like, oh, I thought I had tampons here, and I was like, okay. So you've had a period since a little girl. So can we honestly say 18 years, right? 15 to 18 years. How is that you don't have, like as a prepper as myself, I have guns in like every room with backup magazines in a safe lockbox. But like I have all this stuff in case
get my tampons.
an intruder has. And like you were like, oh, I would have tampons everywhere, And
I try.
And I'm like, I probably will have that with when she grows up. I'll have guns everywhere and tampons everywhere. But I wanted to give you props, and I always acknowledge this every time I come in. On her dresser / changing table, and next to her bed is a little bowl of about 12 of the exact same binkies, because we went through 6 different styles of binkies until we
finally
found
one.
The one that she likes, that she doesn't spit out, that she takes. And if you're not a parent, you don't know what we're talking about. But if you have a baby, you know that you went through. It's like trying on
every
dresses,
passy,
right? I'm convinced. I'm convinced a gal tries on less dresses than parents try binkies with their kids.
Yes, I think I tried every single pacifier out there,
and we finally found this cheapo one that's not very cute.
It's not very cute. It's not cheap.
It's not cheap.
Yeah, I think none of them are cheap. No. They're all about the same price.
But money's no object. Come on.
Oh, the binkies.
What is it? 12 grand? Whatever. Just give me it.
Just buy it.
Yeah. And you have this bowl with 12 of them there. And what's great is like, because they're constantly, dropping out, whatever. And it's
so
not
they
like
have that like reservoir.
Oh, yeah. Like I've been times in the middle of the night when she wakes up and you just need to put a passy in her mouth. You just grab one out of the thing and just put it in there, and I'm sure I'll find the next one laying in her crib somewhere. Yeah. So it's
Oh,
good
thank you.
on you. Yeah. It's
thank you.
I respect that.
Yeah.
It speaks to my OCD heart.
Yeah. I thought you
It's like a little dispenser of binkies.
I know. They just keep coming.
Because I remember with the boys, it was
like one.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't find it,
where
it
is
was
the binky?
over. Yeah.
You're
I
looking
remember
for,
with
like, the
Beckham
remote.
specifically. It was like he had two. One was always on the little pacifier clip. And one, I think there was two on the pacifier clips. And one was always attached to him. And one was, I think, somewhere else. I don't even know. Just somewhere. And if we couldn't find it, yeah, like the world was over.
Oh man. So you said okay, so the nursery's your top, and then did you rank the stairs as last?
No, I did nursery, stairs, and then bunk
bed.
So stairs, nursery and stairs are kind of like even to me. Because the stairs were such a big deal and probably the biggest wow factor for me, especially because they're the first thing. I think we've talked about this before. The first thing when you walk into our house.
Yeah. It's a statement piece, I guess.
Statement. And I think that's why it's like so.
This family doesn't F around.
Yeah. And you did it so well. Like what I imagined in my head, you made it look even better.
Oh, really?
And so... Yeah,
nice
I feel like the nursery and probably stairs, I don't know, they might be even to me. The nursery I think wins over just a little bit because of what I said before. It's like the whole room, and also like it's just like more sentimental, like our baby, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the daughter.
Yeah, the daughter.
So bunk beds, I'm surprised made your list because I would imagine. So when we did the staging shots for the bunk beds when it was done, obviously it looked adorable, right? You put a little sign on the shiplap, vertical shiplap walls that says "Boys Rule" or something like that. It was cute. The bed sheets were matching, and
it was all cute.
Yeah. And then now it's a war zone in there.
Yeah, because the boys live there.
Yeah, because
it's still my favorite though because it looks really cute. It's a really cute bunk bed, and maybe if the rest of the room was. Like I still needed to figure something out. The boys' room is like the last room I don't know what to do with because of the big Lego table in the middle of it, which you built and is beautiful. I love it so much.
But the Legos don't stay on it or
they don't. So might as well. I don't know. I feel like there's no point of like having it in there. So maybe if we got like made it really cute, like put a rug, did a dresser and like something on the other wall, and like maybe a little bench under the bookshelves, like it would actually look more appealing. I think that's what bothers you about it is like the bunk bed looks really good, but then the entire rest of the room is like
But Beckham will bring like he's just like an outdoor cat.
He'll bring
like cardboard in there and scissors.
That's another thing is it's never going to stay clean because of our 5-year-old child who decides to do the
Science
weirdest
project.
crafts in there where there's just cardboard, paper, tape, scissors, like string. He'll find like thread, and it's just like
It's the most frustrating thing with him.
So cute, but it's so frustrating.
Right, and that's the part that's frustrating is you know that his creativity is flourishing because he's always like, so Dad, I made this thing, or hey,
like
Dad,
rockets, and
do you want to see a science experiment? Like, so if you take water, and I'm constantly opening up the freezer, and there's Ziploc baggies full of water because he's fascinated about making ice, and I don't know,
like
that's
food
him
coloring,
projecting to do like make meth later on, like crystal meth.
Just a little bit nervous about that part.
But I'm like he took a cup. And he poured one of your flavored San Pellegrinos in there, and then he stuck a long Lego piece into it.
So a popsicle.
Yeah, and froze it.
Took it out with a Lego piece. Instead of like a wooden popsicle stick.
And I get so pissed off. But I'm like,
it's hard to be. That's the thing. It's hard to be mad at him when it's things like that. It'd be one thing if he's just making messes with toys that are like everywhere, but when he's so creative, and when it's things like that, you're like, oh, okay. You need to clean up. Also, I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you.
You're so creative.
Have we ever mentioned about his tape addiction?
I don't know if we mentioned
that.
So
he has this addiction with tape.
And it started...
Paper tape.
It started when COVID first kind of started and we were in quarantine. Yeah. That's when it started. I started noticing like... Oh, no. I think I fed that addiction.
Yeah.
I bought tape because I saw... When we first started, had a quarantine... Somebody posted on Facebook like some fun things to do at home when have nothing to do, and one of them was like you tape a hallway and you try to do like the laser kind of course where you like go through it. And so I'm like, oh, I should do that for the boys. Did I ever do it for the boys?
No, that never happened.
I did not.
You know, just bought a bunch of rolls of tape.
So I bought a bunch of like painter's tape, the blue tape,
and
that's when our child's love.
He would tape everything. He would tape 5 markers together into like a spear. He would tape
cardboard.
He would cut out wings, shapes, triangles, and then make everything. Everything had wings to it.
Yeah.
Like everything had wings. A Nerf bullet would have wings.
Yeah.
You know.
He's obsessed with like rockets, airplanes, like anything that flies.
And everything in the house had tape on it. Everything was taped and manipulated to be something else. And it's incredible. But the problem is nothing gets cleaned up, and it's you now taking apart things.
Yeah, having to clean up after him. Like I would just walk around after him, cleaning up these tape messes.
And when he would run out of tape, he would double dip into my tapes section.
Oh yeah, he would go to the garage.
And he knows they're in the cupboard too.
Where it is.
And it got to a point that he got banned from tape, right? Because I was like, if you can't clean up, you cannot do these things.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I came home with like 2 rolls of tape, and I was in the garage masking something off because it was going to get painted. And he sees it. Oh, Dad, what do you have over there? And I was like, oh, it's tape. He goes, oh boy, it sure would be nice to have a strip. I go, you're an addict, dude.
Yeah, sure would be nice.
You're looking for that fresh hit, a fresh bump.
Oh
of
my
that.
gosh, I'm dead.
Just give me one strip.
Yeah.
I promise. So that's cool. I mean, I'm glad that you enjoy these projects.
I think a lot of them, to me, is like I love obviously like visually how things look, and so a lot of us to do that. But a lot of it is like going back to I think what you said, like the way that room is being used too makes it more sentimental. Like for you, what are your top 3?
Bunk beds is number 1, and I always answer it this way. It's the one thing I think a bunk bed, especially a custom built bunk bed, is like a tree fort for a kid, right? But then put LED lights in it, and now it's like a spaceship.
They're obsessed. They want to show everybody that bunk bed when they come over.
So to
me, see our bunk bed? It's
more like the excitement of making my kids have this experience and this memory. So that's probably my first and foremost. Everything after that, I have 0 ideas of what ranks.
You don't have a second, third?
I don't. I like our shower. Yeah. But then sometimes imperfections that I do take away the joy of that. But okay, so I love the fact that we have a ginormous walk-in shower. And I love the butler's pantry, and I love
that's a big one for me too. The bar area is a big one.
So I would say those things.
Yeah.
But then again, I love the fact that how the peninsula island we used to have, and now it's a free floating island.
It's hard to pick, huh? Yeah.
It is. I think
I'm picking the ones that are like the most recent, because those are the ones I remember having like emotions about.
Yeah. I think it's easier to have favorites when it's somebody else critiquing you or selecting or rating them.
Yeah. I
think with me, as somebody who constantly chases inspiration and is constantly dissatisfied with so many things, I think that is a good blend of like success when you constantly stay in that zone of creativity and dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
You're constantly trying to get to perfection and you can never get there. And so do I think I'm a good builder? No. Do I think I have great ideas? No. So it's like I want to constantly chase the idea of wanting to be a good builder, wanting to be, a good finished work, want to have great ideas, want to have great design. So, and I'm not there, and I don't think I
think you always have to chase it, because if you get to a point where you go, I'm great at this, I feel like you're stuck.
You're done.
Yeah, you're done.
You reached your epitome.
Yeah. Like I have never felt. I'm the same way. I've never felt like I'm amazing at like design. I'm amazing at like staging. There's been times where I'm like, I think that looks really good. Like I've had these moments of like when I staged that, but I've never been so confident as to be like, I'm a really great designer.
Yeah, you're always like bragging that on
which is, I think, is a really good, because first of all, it's like very humbling.
Yeah, no, it
when
is.
you're like, I'm not really good at this. I'm still chasing it. So you're always chasing after that, wanting to.
Matthew McConaughey was accepting one of his Oscars for movie actors. So whatever,
Oscars is movies.
And he did a speech, and it was more of like a storytelling kind of thing. But he says he was asked when he was 7, well, who's your hero? And he didn't know how to answer, so he came back a week later, says, my hero is me 10 years from today. So he's like, so the guy came to him at 17. So are you your hero? He goes, no, I'm my hero is me 10 years from today. So he comes to me at 27. Are you your hero? And I was like, no, not even close. He's like, I'm me, 10 years from today. So at 37, are you? And so the whole point of it was like, you could only compete against yourself, right? You should be your own hero of your own story, and you can never achieve it and so therefore you keep chasing it. And I think that's
Which
fantastic.
what makes you great.
I think it's
in the long run.
I don't think you get to decide whether or not you're great. I don't think you get to.
You don't. Other people do.
Yeah, you should be satisfied in being who you are and loved and appreciated. But I don't think you get to put that badge on you saying I'm an excellent designer. I'm a great.
Yeah, because who are you comparing yourself to, and who are there's always gonna be somebody better than you as well.
Yeah, let other people decide that for you, and then when they decide that you are great, disagree with them. Disagree with them because you're not there, and you're never going to be there. And I think that's what makes great people great.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
All right, Mrs. M, let's wrap this up because I know you're trying to go party with the gals.
Listen, it's 103, Mister. We're supposed to wrap out at 100.
Bill me for this. All right, folks, share this podcast with your friends. Make sure you like us on all the platforms. Rate this podcast. It helps with the algorithm. Hey, stay out of this.
Shut up, Siri.
All right, guys. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.